It's not often I'm blown away by something. Actually, no, that's a lie. I'm usually amazed by pretty much everything I see, but this is a little different because this is me being amazed via the medium of ASCII. I should also note that it was brought to my attention from fellow tweeter and, frankly, incredible artist Baal Spawn, otherwise known as IDSPISPOPD, and if you want to know the meaning behind that, well then you can check out my video on it. Okay, I feel like I should cover off just what ASCII is first. So ASCII was actually developed from telegraph code, which relied on Morse code to send the digits 0 through 9 and all the letters of the alphabet. In a computing sense, binary is used to encode 128 characters into 7-bit strings. Using this chart, we can see, for example, that a capital A is represented by 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Really, this is the basis which allows us to interact with this technology, and it's a character set we would have used on early systems running a command line interface for operation, or an extension of it at least. So how do we create the world of Doom simply using these characters? Well, it's a little bit like this. Isn't it wondrous? It's like an aggressive and more fun version of the Matrix feed. Although it uses the Doom.wad, 1337 Doom, or Leet Doom if you like, is actually written using the Unity engine. I had a brief catch up with Croatian creator Dario Zubovic to find out his inspiration, and apparently it all goes back to roguelikes, which, incidentally, I've made a video about as well. Now this of course makes sense, the original Rogue was made entirely in ASCII. So Dario wanted to know if it could be applied to create a 3D perspective. I mean, there are other Doom ASCII variants from the past, there are even libraries which convert images to ASCII art, but this creation just works a little bit better. By using a post-processing shader, Dario was able to refine its look to create something which actually works as a playable version of Doom. Originally he was going to make a bespoke game based on it, but after knackering himself out with the shader, he decided to plump with the shareware version of Doom. And to be honest, it's a good thing because most people know their way around Doom, especially the first episode. And if you were to hike up the difficulty to impossible, essentially by decreasing the number of text columns, then you really need to know your way around the game. Technically, it's just using a set of monospaced characters divided in groups by density of the character. So in effect, the denser or darker a set of pixels are interpreted, the denser the corresponding character will be used in their place. If you have less columns, you're going to have more pixels symbolised by each character, and therefore it's a lot harder to work out what's what, even with your brain trying to fill in the gaps. Still, the movement helps, so if I were to do a couple of punches, you can clearly make that out on the screen. Well, I say clearly. Sort of clearly. Now, interestingly, it's one of those things which works better if you're short-sighted, like me. I remember reading an article in a Sega magazine in the 90s about how Mega Drive graphics actually look better if you're short-sighted. And that's because being short-sighted kind of creates an anti-aliasing effect, which blurs edges together, removing jagged edges, and in this situation, actually helping to form a more coherent world. Even so, there's no way I can tackle it on impossible mode or even hard mode. It doesn't help that the actual Doom game is set on nightmare difficulty as well, and it doesn't quite carry the same inertia as Doom. Strafing side to side isn't quite as effective as it once was. To make it even harder, you can even put it into monochrome mode, which removes the colours entirely, which is just... no. Higher resolutions or more columns are, however, much easier and look a lot more like Doom. You can play away like this for hours, being lured into the changing characters, like an audience member into Paul McKenna's clutches. Alright, maybe not, it is still pretty hard. It's also helped by the soothing yet somewhat tense stoner rock music provided by the Sydney-based Turtle Skull, which works really nicely. Usually I have outrage for anything that's not the original Doom soundtrack, so this was a pleasant surprise. Anyway, that's Leet Doom. I'll leave some links below so that you can go and try it yourself. Thanks for watching, and apologies if I sound like a congested yak, I have been feeling a bit poorly.